Breakfast is something that's always come easy to me. And by that I mean I've been lucky to always have enough to eat, and for a long time, I never questioned what was on my plate. It was in college that I started to learn things about my food that turned my whole world upside down. For instance, I didn't know that artificial fertilizers from farms in 31 US states pollutes the Mississippi River, dumping into the Gulf of Mexico where it feeds algal blooms that consume all the oxygen and create a dead zone where no life can survive. I also didn't know that most modern farms look like this. One single crop planted as far as the eye can see, year after year. When the crop is harvested, the soil is left bare, and this process relies on heavy machinery, fossil fuels, and chemical inputs, all of which decimate the soil. We've lost 50% of the Earth's topsoil in the last 150 years. But perhaps the hardest thing I learned was how we treat animals in factory farms. Contrary to the happy agrarian scenes you see in kids' books, with the barnyard animals and the rolling pasture, the truth is more like a Margaret Atwood novel. In concentrated feeding operations, we pack animals in by the thousands, pumping them full of cheap grain, antibiotics, and hormones. It's not only incredibly cruel, but it's highly unsanitary, creating breeding grounds for infectious disease and polluting our land and water. Learning all of this, I had to ask, are humans at least better off? No. The food produced by this system, highly refined grains, processed foods, cheap meat, they're the leading causes of obesity, cancer, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. Furthermore, the industrial food system is the leading cause of climate change, poverty, and, ironically, food insecurity. Learning all of this, I became heartbroken. And this is really just the tip of the iceberg. And then I became angry. How have we allowed this to happen? And why wasn't anybody talking about it? Well, actually, some people were talking about it. A group of my old high school friends were on this very same path to waking up to this harsh reality. So, getting to know all of this, we had a choice to make. You all know it. Take the blue pill. Wake up in your bed, go out for a steak, forget all about it. Or take the red pill and see how far the rabbit hole goes. Obviously, we chose the latter, or I wouldn't be here talking to you today. We had to do something. So after graduating college, we did a little something risque, a little something taboo, and we moved home to the middle of nowhere, New Hampshire. And although we didn't know quite what it was, we started to set off a news story, and it started with our breakfast. Now, the industrial food system is getting away with this largely because it's anonymous and it's hidden. We wanted to get to know where our food was coming from. We wanted to bring food security to our community and support farmers and sustainable farming practices. So we started building a local food hub, the Kearsarge Food Hub. And we began not by drafting a detailed business plan or taking out big loans, but with a low investment pilot project. First, we started our own small farm, Sweet Beet Farm, on land lent to us by very supportive community members. And then we started building a farm stand, once again with architectural plans donated by a supportive community member. And what was an empty field began to take on new life. I skipped over it. There it is, taking on new life. And on July 4th, 2015, Sweet Beet Farm Stand opened for business in the heart of Bradford, New Hampshire. Much to our delight, people came. Some of you are in this room. And for the next 2 years, we operated out of this stand. It was fast and crazy and hectic, and we were learning not only how to grow our own food, but how to order, collect, store, display, and sell local food of all kinds from over 30 producers within a 30-mile radius. We were building trust with farmers, and we were gaining support in the community. In the fall of 2016, an interesting opportunity presented itself. Another local company, Unless, was interested in investing in young entrepreneurship and creating more opportunities in our community. And they had purchased a beautiful old inn on the other side of town at 11 West Main Street that had been sitting empty and unused for 15 years. They invited us to partner with them to help reinvigorate the space as a community resource. And so, true to our Sweet Beet ethos, we got right to work helping out with the renovations in the building. And then we moved Sweet Beet Farm Stand, where it graduated to a year-round indoor market at 11 West Main Street. Now, in this new space, we've been building our capacity to move food from farm to fork, and we've been celebrating small incremental upgrades in infrastructure along the way. Because we are total geeks, this is how excited we were when we received a grant for a new point of sale system to help us manage sales and inventory and track data. So exciting. And this is how excited we were when we raised $5,000 from the community for new upright display freezers. This helps us sell more local meat as a critical alternative to factory farm options. And now Sweet Beet Market is open the same hours, the same place all year long, as a reliable destination for people seeking not only local food, but the story behind the food. With all the space in this old building, we were able to get to work on another project, building a commercial kitchen. Once again, we got right to work on the ground floor renovations. And we raised over $32,000 from our community to put toward kitchen equipment. And after navigating the magical world of food safety and licensing, last fall, Sweet Beet Kitchen finally opened. Among other uses, the space functions as a bakery because we believe that the town baker is a powerful and age-old symbol of community cohesion around food. Major growth has also been happening on Sweet Beet Farm over the past few years. We envisioned and built new fields on land owned by hub members. We built high tunnels and greenhouses to help extend our growing season. And we've paid particular attention to building soil, using cover crops and living mulches, bringing in local manure, compost, and wood ash, and experimenting with tools that help us minimize our impact on the earth. Now, Sweet Beet Farm is a vibrant and ever-evolving space for exploring regenerative methods to grow safe and nutritious foods for our community. We've been growing not only physical infrastructure, but a nonprofit organization from the ground up. So that means lots of this, and this. None of us have any formal training in this work, but because we're willing to ask questions, do research, and seek advice from our mentors, and we have a lot of mentors, we are able to figure it out as we go. We're also building operational systems in all of our departments, farm, market, and kitchen. Here's France, working on our homemade spreadsheet titled, What Goes Where? As you might have guessed, it literally tells us what products are coming from which farms and what markets it's going to. We serve not only Sweet Beet Market, but local restaurants, Warner Public Market, and more importantly, food pantries. We've also been building an identity around inclusivity, where everyone is welcome to come participate, and we have an excellent team of volunteers, ages from their 20s all the way to retired folks who help us out on a weekly basis. But perhaps most importantly, we've been building team dynamic. We're all friends learning how to do business together. We're each finding our own leadership roles in the organization and learning how to support and respect each other as we co-create this totally unique thing. It's not always this pretty, I promise you that. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. All along, we have been open and transparent. We've been emphasizing collaboration and building partnerships in the community. When we opened our commercial kitchen, and with the continued support and guidance of building owners on Less, we were able to rent the space to a couple ladies in town who then opened the Village Cafe. When a group of friends in the town next door set off to open their own local food market, Warner Public Market, we sat down around the table and we figured out how we could collaborate. To this day, we work together on a weekly basis to share ideas, information, and infrastructure to achieve our mutual goal of more local food in the community. But perhaps the collaboration I'm most proud of is with our local schools. We've welcomed students from first grade all the way through college level to come share in our learning process. Nobody describes it better than Dylan from John Stark High School.
Like my third or so time here, and it's amazing. I felt the strong relationship with not only my friends but these plants. It's really fun. It made me realize how people can put down their phone for at least an hour or so and start doing some stuff.
Amen, Dylan. So, after 5 intense years of building the Kearsarge Food Hub and all of its intricate parts, last spring we were able to say thanks to all of the people who have supported us, everyone who's donated their time, their money, skills, or land to help this whole thing come to life. We prepared for them a meal in our kitchen, and then we gathered on the lawn to eat and chat. It was then that we realized what's really going on here. It's more than just sustainability through farming and health through local food. It's about civic and social responsibility. It's about resilience through growing community. People often ask, how do you guys do it? What's your secret to success? And I tell them, we're just an exceptionally talented group of people, and nobody can do what we've done. I'm kidding. We've had so much support. We've worked very hard, and we've made sacrifices, but there's also a special sauce involved. And in the spirit of equity and community building efforts everywhere, I'm going to share that special sauce with you today. Ingredient number 1, slow down. Before doing anything, and on a regular basis, take a step back, take a deep breath. We are on a magnetic, water-covered, life-giving rock flying through outer space. It's a goddamn miracle, and a mystery, and a gift. Gratitude for this gift should be the starting point for all that we do. Now, I'm not saying there is an urgency to the problems we face. There absolutely is. The house is on fire. But the way we approach problem solving matters. Grinding away at work without an appreciation of the bigger picture leaves us feeling stuck and burnt out. Slowing down creates space for not only gratitude, but for learning how to ask the right questions and for finding creative solutions. Number two. Now more than ever, we need to work on finding common ground. There are so many things that unite us. Food is an easy one. We all have to eat. But food is so much more than sustenance. Food is medicine. Food is ritual and tradition. It connects us to ourselves, to each other, and the earth. It is a worthy investment, deserving of our time and attention. Now, finding common ground doesn't mean we all have to be the same. Actually, quite the opposite. It provides the fertile soil on which we can more fully embrace our differences and learn how to work together. Show up, or in more elegant words, put down your phone and start doing some stuff. There's no substitute for participation and effort. Showing up doesn't mean being forceful. It means being present, paying attention, and being willing to do the work. For us, showing up helped us test a bunch of different things, not all of which worked out, but each in their own way showed us where we were heading. But it also helped us build trust in our community, and that has been the bedrock for all we've been able to accomplish. Systems thinking. Ingredient number 4. Peter Sang says, vision without systems thinking ends up painting a lovely picture of the future with no understanding of the forces that must be mastered to move from here to there. And so systems thinking is a disciplined approach for examining problems more fully before taking action. It's a method of design that can and should be applied to all fields of work. More than that, though, systems thinking is an underlying philosophy that the nature of our world is circular. We are all, including humans, interconnected. For this lesson, of course, nature is our greatest teacher. We must listen to her. When I set off wanting to help rebuild the food system, I wanted to save the planet. I didn't give a damn about the humans. We are the ones, after all, causing all of this damage. But as I've matured in my understanding of the problem, I've come to understand that to save the planet, we have to save the humans. Which brings me to my fifth and final ingredient, humanity itself. If you take just one thing away from this story, let it be this. The key to positive change is in each and every one of us. To access that key, we simply must turn inward, ask ourselves, what does it mean to be human? What do we need to be okay, to be able to make the world a better place? You see, the way I see it, humans have been hungry, but we've been misunderstanding what we're really hungry for. It's not cheap pleasures or more stuff. We're hungry for depth, for purpose and connection. We're all on this journey to becoming whole, and it is messy and uncomfortable. But still, this journey belongs in our daily lives, in our public spaces and in our communities and in our work. Allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and embrace the humanity in ourselves and each other has the power to unlock the best parts of ourselves. Compassion and patience, creativity, courage, and intuition. Nurturing these qualities will help us build beautiful things, help us solve these problems we're facing, and help us become truly fulfilled. And once you have this special sauce all mixed up, the next step is to share. There is an abundance in sharing. Humans are social, collaborative creatures. We share everything from physical space and food to intangible things like ideas and stories. It's the stories we share that give us the power to be greater than the sum of our parts. We can't control the stories we inherit from those that come before us. All we can control is what we choose to contribute in return. When I first learned about my food, I was angry to be inheriting such a destructive story. But I've come to realize it's not my weight to bear, it's not my fault, but it sure as hell is my responsibility. It's all of our responsibilities to move the story forward and arc it just a little bit more toward truth and justice, because we are ultimately passing the story on to our kids. We have to answer to them. So it turns out, our journey building a food hub became a community movement. What started as a story about breakfast became a story about the breakfast table. Not only what's on your plate, but who's sitting at the table. Wendell Berry, as usual, says it best. Our place of safety can only be the community. But not just one community, many of them everywhere. Upon that depends all that we still claim to value: freedom, dignity, health, mutual help and affection, undestructive pleasure, and the rest. Human life, as most of us would still like to define it, is community life. Thank you.